All right, here we go. We got economics vocabulary set number 1. This is our new unit here. So you should have the handout in front of you, the vocab. You should write the due date down. That's posted at the top. On that day, you'll have a vocab and content quiz. It'll be an e-card quiz, 20 questions. Make sure you write in these definitions and then complete the other 2 sections for homework just like normal. All right, we're almost there. Here we go. All right, first word, we got 16. This is a big one. The next one is a small one, I promise. All right, we got the word market. A market, here's the definition in terms of just like simplifying it a little bit. Basically anywhere that you can buy something and where goods and services are exchanged. So it could be online. It could be you selling something at a lemonade stand. It could be a store, a retail store. It could be a grocery store, a restaurant. These are all different marketplaces. Okay? But basically, you purchase a good or a service. This is the location that it's done. It doesn't have to be a physical location. All right, next word is scarcity. This is the most basic of all economic concepts. It's what really drives all economic decision making. You can't satisfy all your wants and needs, even needs, but all your wants at the same time. And resources are limited, so you have to make choices. You have to give some things up. That's scarcity. Okay, next. Goods. Another word for goods is a product. It's something that is used, something that is bought, something that is sold, something consumed. Okay, something that is produced, right, is a good. It's something physical. It's something you can see, something you can touch, something you can use. All right, next is services. We're a service-driven industry economy these days. So it's an action performed in exchange for payment. So you go to a restaurant, you get someone to take your order, and they cook it for you. They bring it out to you. You pay the bill. That is a service. You go to get your car washed, and you pay them, and they wash your car for you. That's a service. Okay, those are a couple examples. All right, equilibrium on the next page. Here we go. Equilibrium is that point where 2 things meet. Everything's balanced. Everything's equal. In economics, it's going to be the point where supply and demand meet. It's going to be your equilibrium price. So your equilibrium price, supply and demand meet. There you go. You can see from this picture. All right. An incentive is a motivating factor, and the goal of an incentive is to change your economic behavior. Okay, a business puts something on sale. That's going to get you to go in and buy it. They offer 5% off if you use the credit card of the company. That's going to motivate you to go buy it. Okay, they maybe throw in something extra on top of what you buy. That's going to get you to go there. I like to go to Glory Days on Mondays. Why? $5.99 burgers. That motivates me to go there. Right? That's an incentive. All right. Okay, the difference between the private and the public sector. Okay, in our economy, in the United States economy, we have a mixed economy where we have private and public ownership of resources and goods and services. Okay, so the private sector is the business side of it, the part that's not owned or operated by the government. Of course, it's regulated by the government, but not owned and operated by the government. Regular citizens, people, businesses, corporations own the private sector. Okay, in the public sector, this is the part of the economy that is controlled by the government. These are your public goods and services, your government buildings, your schools, your hospitals, your parks, things of that nature. Anything that basically uses tax revenue to provide services or recreational things or services for citizens. Okay, that's public sector. All right, keep it going. Here we go. Remember, you can pause at any time if you need to catch up. All right, profit. After you've paid all your debts, all your expenses, all your employees, whatever you have left over, that's your profit. Okay? If you make more from one month to the next, that's an increase in profit. If you make less from one month to the next, that's a decrease in profit. And of course, in order to make profit, you have to first take a risk. All right, here we go. We got competition. This is, in our economy, this is what basically drives the price of goods down and the quality of goods up. Okay, because there's a rivalry among sellers or businesses to make sure that consumers or households or individuals purchase their goods or services. And if you have multiple competitors, that's going to improve the product at a lower price. If you only only have one person making that product, they can charge you more and they don't have to make it as good. That's why we like competition. All right, sovereignty is another word for like freedom to make decisions. You're going to see consumer sovereignty later this unit. That's going to be one of our characteristics of the U.S. economy. Okay, where consumers get to decide what is made based on what they want to purchase and what they have demand for. What there is a demand for. Sovereignty. It's a tough one to spell. It's kind of like bureaucracy of this unit. All right, here we go. We have the word allocate. All right, I'm going to take a sip of water here. All right, allocate. Another synonym for this word is distribute. So resources are allocated in a certain way in order to meet the demands of the consumers. If there is a limited supply, then they have to distribute. If you find a different resource or you distribute those differently. But basically, resources are limited and they're allocated based on need and based on who can afford to buy them. All right, last page. Here we go. We got 4 more. You can do it. Power through. All right, we got entrepreneur. You can see a picture here of Bill Gates as an example. Remember, all your pictures should be unique on your vocab homework. This is the person that takes a risk to start a business in order to earn a profit. And if you're an entrepreneur, you can start any one of the next 3 words that we'll see. You can start a proprietorship, a partnership, or a corporation. But you're basically coming up with an idea to start a business. That business hopefully has a market where people will actually use it, and hopefully there's a demand for this good or service. And if there's a market and if there's a demand, then you will succeed. Okay? Of course, if there's too much competition, you might not. All right, next we have a proprietorship. That's where you might see it called sole proprietorship. That's where one person owns and operates the business. They make all the profit, but they take all the risk. So one person is the sole owner. If you own a business by yourself, you're a sole proprietor. Okay? You take all the risk, but you make all the profit. All right, next you got a partnership. 2 or more people. A lot of people think partnership is just 2 people, but it could be 2 or more people that own a business and they share in the risk and the profits. So if if it's 2 people, you own 50-50, you half the risk, half the profit. 3 people, it goes to 1/3 and so on. You could also have a business where one person owns half and the other, the 10 people each own 5%. You could have something like that, like a major partner and then minor partners. All right, and then the last word here is corporation. You can see the Starbucks logo. That is where it legally acts as one person, but there are many owners based on who invests and who buys stock in that company. They usually have a board of supervisors that makes the company decisions, and a CEO who's like the leader of it, not the owner. The owner are the people who own stock. Okay? All right, so finish this for homework. You have a quiz on the due date posted in your classroom. This will be your second to last vocab packet of the year. So enjoy it while it lasts.